Well, goodness gracious. My phone just gave me my bedtime alert reminder that it will be going into Do Not Disturb in approximately 31 minutes. So it must be a late night edition of the Missing Lynx post-game podcast live stream. I think I'm going to just keep calling it all of the words. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage. I cover the Lynx, Wolves, and Gophers women's basketball on the beat. And today we're joined by Terry Horstman from TheNext. How's it going, man?
It is going great. A lot has changed since the last time I saw you about 22 minutes ago in the Target Center media room. But yeah, not the Lynx's night tonight, but excited to get into it. And I can't imagine a better bedtime story for you over the next 30 minutes than getting into the game that was a 93-79 victory for the Storm that none of us on press row saw coming when it was 39-18 Lynx in the second quarter.
I am not gonna lie, like if there is like bad juju in the world, I put all of that out there. I think when it was, when they were doubling the Storm, I looked to you and I was like, are we going to get Cam Taylor, Kosu third quarter minutes? Like, this is going to be awesome. And then about a half an hour in real time later, the wheels came off and we were just kind of sitting there probably as dumbfounded as most of the fans were. I mean, right. It turned in a hurry, Terry.
Right. Though, and we talked about this too, is that there have been a lot of games where they've kind of played with their food a little bit and almost always coming through. And it's not always just a Lynx thing. Like everyone in this league is good. You got to give opponents credit, but it's kind of when the lead got trimmed to, 12 and then 10, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, this is just the script of wins at home that they keep stacking up. And, it'll be about a 14-point margin of victory at the end. And we'll have to talk with Cheryl about these, possessions in the middle that she's not too pleased about. Yeah, really didn't go that way. It ended up being 14 the other way. And I think, like you can pick and choose whatever part in the score and be like, they got outscored the rest of the way. But after Land put them up 59-45 in the third quarter, and they just got outscored 48-20 the rest of the way, in a way that, like, I'm not even going to act like I can diagnose it. Like, I know that's what we're paid to do, but it's like they got hit in the mouth and didn't hit back. And that's just not something that we see from this group very often. The good news is they have a travel day tomorrow and another game very quickly. I don't think they would want to stew on this for 4 or 5 days, as they have gotten more time off in the last couple of weeks. I think it's a good thing. There's another game very quickly.
My guess is this is probably, as Cheryl calls it, a crash out game for her, where she, lets her feelings and thoughts known on the players. And then they probably burn the tape and say, go do better on Saturday against Connecticut. And I would assume the Lynx are going to do better. But let's flip over to a quick ad read while some more people are coming in here. And then we'll start breaking down the game a little bit more. Well, hello. Thank you, live stream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Lynx podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. McKinney says it over here on YouTube. Cheryl dropped the F-bomb about the D. Truly a crash out. Couple things. What I will first say is I will never intentionally get a player fined. If they swear in a practice scrum, I will hide it to the best of my abilities. But if they're going to swear on a televised post-game scrum, free game. So I'm sorry, Cheryl, if you get fined. my deepest apologies, but that was truly one of the more warranted F-bombs I think she's ever dropped in front of us, at least, because
I
that
also
defense was tough.
I hate that people get fined for dropping F-bombs in scrums.
Yes.
As if that's just not a natural way. Can you imagine if we got fined for saying fuck on this podcast?
It would be terrible. Could you imagine if we got fined for saying like anything on press row? Like all of us would be homeless.
That's why everything that's said on press row stays on press row. That is that's the real exclusive content.
But
no,
I
we're
mean,
just
Cheryl was 100% right on that defense. I mean, I went back and looked. Seattle was 3 of 10 from 3-point range in the first quarter, and then proceeded to go 13 for 23 the rest of the way and just completely shoot them out of a gym. And I know Fee also mentioned it of just, they weren't closing out as well as they would like to, but this was one of the worst defensive performances I think the Lynx has had this season. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's right up there. It just felt like they didn't have an answer at all. And there's, some good questions out there. And Cheryl did say, without us even asking, that it's probably a game that she'll look at and Shep should have played more and that Dejanay should have played more. Neither of them got a ton of minutes in the second half. Shep didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And also Lan didn't play much after getting that shot to the face by Sykes, and we weren't watching the same team that we normally watch, and it's like I don't like Seattle's length and strength down low was like new to them somehow. And like you said, it was just kind of a weird game. I'm not gonna freak out or read too much into it. I think, it's a team desperately fighting for its playoff life, and especially after the way they played against Indiana the other night, like you knew that you weren't going to get another one with players like Skylar Diggins and Nneka Ogwumike, and Brittany's prideful players fighting for their playoff lives. Like it's a dangerous team in a situation like that. And the Lynx got popped in the mouth, and one of the very few times they didn't seem up to the fight. And I don't think we will see that from them much again. I will add, I really want this to be the first round playoff matchup now after I'm forgetting if I don't want to say a name because it was Skylar Diggins for sure, and one other player. I can't remember who. I think it might have been Nneka, but maybe not. So don't quote me if it wasn't. But doing the electric slide on their way off of the floor, which Cheryl noticed, but seemed to notice in a I respect the level of competitiveness way. It got feisty, and kind of all the fire was on the Storm side of things. And man, they'll have to wait for another day to lock up that 1 seed.
Nate, sponsor Nate Pence dropping into the chat. Holy cow, what an honor. Erica Wheeler was the
enough said.
Was the other player. Also, Elsie says she understands the crash out because she crashed out as well. I didn't have a crash out. I will say the things that bother me most about this Lynx team, none of those happened. Typically when I'm like to the point of ripping my hair out, it's like defensive rotations are slow, or someone like doesn't rotate out to the corner, or they have 21 turnovers, or they're just like shooting themselves in the foot. What was interesting about this game is like it seemed like the effort level was there. Like it seemed like they were really trying to stop Seattle. It just wasn't good enough, which I think that was the vibe I got from the players. At least I think Cheryl was a little more pointed of just like, we have to be better. Like that was abysmal, but you could kind of see it as the game went on. Like there was a play in the fourth quarter where Fee just got like bodied under the basket and just kind of gave up on an offensive rebound, and they scored over her. And those were the things that like I don't think that's going to happen again. Like it seemed like kind of got punked almost. And then once they were like falling behind, they were missing shots and they just couldn't get the rhythm back and they just gave up. I don't think there's a lot of Cheryl Reeves teams in her history of coaching that have ever given up like twice. So I kind of expect this game against the Connecticut to be a very much so like a get right game. Also, McKinney and Elsie, yes. Like I also would like the Storm game injected into my veins. I think they probably take care of that series pretty quickly. Like Cheryl's too good of a coach. They have too much talent. I think just enough weird stuff happened tonight. But I don't know, Terry. What did you think of like the effort level that they had?
The effort level, I don't question at all. Especially like we mentioned it too. Courtney was out there playing her ass off in the fourth quarter. Then there's almost that thing like where people play too hard and just like want it too much when things are slipping away and you don't make sort of the calm, collected reads or moves that you normally would have. What I think of this is what a strong exhibit A for not resting your players once this thing's wrapped up, just because I think this is the best team in the WNBA. They are not a finished product, and a championship is not guaranteed even with home court locked up. So they've still got some work to do. And if ever there was just evidence that you can't just go into the playoffs resting your stars for the next week and have them week and a half and not do anything. I think that would, the rest versus rust debate, if the Lynx aired on the side of resting, that would not play in their favor. I think they've got a lot of work to do, and I think they're in good position to do it. But I don't question the effort level like you asked at all. It just was a game where just kind of the wheels fell off. And like I said, I don't know that I want to even try and diagnose it any further than that. We can get into more X's and O's kind of stuff if you guys want to. There's, I think, a lot of there were some closeouts that you'd probably want back or to redo again. But I think the Storm are a good team and can get going, and it's a weird team too. We see them play like this one night and awful like the next night. So like I said this kind of in jest as we were leaving, but I said I bet the Storm lose to Chicago on Monday night, and it wasn't just, but I think I might believe myself. Good call, spicy post game Terry. Like I think I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if they just lay an egg against and eliminate Chicago Sky team on Monday night. So just it's basketball. It bounces that way sometimes.
I mean, what I'll say is, and maybe I misspoke because I did say they gave up. I don't think the Lynx gave up. I think there's just only a certain amount of resilience you can have in a tank, right? So when you are defending a three really well, and then McBeggar just knocks in a deep three from above the break, and it's just well, shoot. Or there's a couple other times in the fourth quarter where they're swarming around, running people off the 3-point line, driving kicks, and then it's just some dumb little flip shot.
Right.
I mean, that sucks. Eventually, that's going to take a toll. It's human nature to get frustrated. And I mean, I know this team holds themselves to a championship standard. That's why I feel like I would be, quite frankly, stunned if they lose in Connecticut. Whereas, like you say, the Storm could lose in Chicago, and I don't think any of us would be stunned.
I had the reverse of that prediction when we were eating before the game, that I bet the Lynx win tonight, and then there's just a weird game in Connecticut on Saturday night.
Also, I mean, they gave up 16 threes. I mean, that's not a Cheryl Reeve coach team letting a team go near 50% from three.
Especially with how bad Seattle started from shooting the three. But
So
like
it's
what
just-
Elise
it's just weird.
said in the chat, instead of keeping calm and getting a good shot, they decided to go up against the Storm Bigs for contested shots and got blocked like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
If the cards wasn't 1,000, it was more than that.
Cheryl
Officially.
shared that frustration.
Cheryl, mentioned that was a topic in the post-game press conference. But like knowing that that's where Seattle's strengths are, knowing that those looming arms of Malunga, Magbagor, and Agumake are back there. And yeah, you know, Ezzy had 5 block shots in this game. And that's not
going at her.
That's not new. That's not a thing she just learned. Like, so that's where I'm sure a lot of the frustration was. And it kind of just seemed like, you know, they were not the strongest takes anyway. And of course, someone like Ezzy is going to feast on that. Yeah, that's all I got on that. Like, I think, yeah, it was just a lot of things weren't working. And then I do think they did recognize that. Yeah. And took some more shots. Kayla is obviously scorching early in this game, so it wasn't going to stay like that forever. This wasn't a good fee shooting game. Courtney was great early, cooled down a bit, and you had Land get hurt. Another game where it's difficult to get BC shots. And one of those shots in the second half was one that Dominique Malunga just destroyed.
That was tough.
And yeah.
And that was BC went to the bench after that, and we didn't see her again, which
we didn't see her at all after that.
No, it was Dijonay or T the rest of the way. Yeah, I mean it again, I'm not going to factor a whole lot into this game other than just this Lynx team does have a tendency, like you said, when they're up 20 to kind of maybe front run a little bit. And then when things start going really bad, they have this resilience that they're never out of a game. But I mean, just quick number here. 2 for 11 from 3 for Bridget, Fee, and Smith. I mean, when 3 of your starters are doing that, it's just so tough.
Only 1 3-point attempt total from the bench, and was a miss by Heidemann. Just, yeah.
It's not how the game is played anymore. Like, you gotta, especially against a team with this much length and size, like, you gotta just get some threes up. Anyway, Nate asks here in the chat, you know, did the lack of a third ref for the second half factor into it? Regardless, giving up 60 points in the second half doesn't really matter what's happening with the refs. I'd love to get your thoughts on that, but because this question's from Nate Pence, what would be a better time than to run another ad? And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. See, I don't know why we had 2 streams in a row where the .com worked. I have done nothing differently. Believe me, nothing differently. And it doesn't do the .com. Also, if you Google Nate Pence, that picture of him in the Lynx jersey is like the top image on Google. So shout out Nate Pence for being a sponsor and
iconic.
I did also see a chat in here from Marie too, just asking if this game hurts MVP, DPOY, Coach of the Year chances. We will get to that next, but I do want to get your thoughts on the lack of a third ref for a half, because I was flabbergasted.
So, yeah, this is, we talked about this, and there is a moment where Isaac Barnett, number 16, is the name of the ref, one of the higher ranked refs in the WNBA. Not that I'm sure that says a lot for the viewers of this program. Don't get fined. But so they can't find me. I'd love to see them try. Hit me up, Kathy. So I made a note, and I looked up and I saw Isaac just backpedaling and just go down. And in a way that like looked funny, and part of what made it funny was I thought he kind of flipped up, smiled, and got back up. And then it was a couple minutes later, you were like, why are there only 2 refs out there? And I was like, there's not 2. So I at the moment, when I left the arena, I had not heard what happened, like what kind of injury he sustained or whatever. I asked Cheryl about it, and she said, when you can't go, you can't go. And they do have alternates in the building for playoffs. So that starts in the playoffs. So if this were a playoff game, there'd be some medical attention on hand to assist whatever the official needed. And if it was determined they can't stay in the game, there would be a substitute. I would also love to ask, when we have more time, what happens if something happens to another ref after that? When do you run out of refs? I would hope there's more than just one once you're in the playoffs. And I just, don't know. So it's like, and that was when the refs kind of lost control of it, when there was just, like Cheryl got a tech at a time when, Skylar Diggins absolutely should have gotten a tech. There were, other moments as well. Not many more, I guess, that I saw where I was like, you've got to give someone a tech. But both teams were kind of in the officials' faces for a while. I didn't think
Kayla could have gotten a tech on one or two of those.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any obvious preferential treatment. There was just some misses, and then a truly baffling bullshit foul on Lan that gave Sykes an and one opportunity, and it just remains frustrating that Lan is the player she is with the whistle that she gets. And I get it that it's not always an intentional thing, and just these calls happen in this league where it's just happening a lot, but man, oh man. And like, I can see it's tough. Like, there's supposed to be 3 of you out there. All of a sudden there's 2. And I'm guessing they did the best they could, but it definitely jumped up a notch. And it was kind of like, this isn't a perfect analogy, but like that substitute teacher energy was out there. Like you could tell it was getting chippy, and the players knew there was, 2/3 of the supervision present, and that may have led to people just like pushing the envelope a little bit more.
That was my complete, like, that is my take on it, is the physicality got to a point where I felt like, I mean, it wasn't like dangerous, right? Like, we weren't worried that someone was going to like tear their Achilles, but it was getting way too chippy. Like, if that game went into overtime, it would be like, I'm worried there's going to be a fight type of chippiness between the Skylar Diggins of it all, kind of going off on fans and Cheryl. K-Mac was getting pretty frustrated with some of the calls as well. I mean, it's why I'm just kind of shocked that like a professional sport doesn't have just some random dude that could be a ref.
Right.
But I mean,
get in there, Gary.
Literally, like, just have a local college ref or like a high school ref just sit in the 3rd row just in case. Like,
I mean, I don't think this is entirely without precedent. Like, I think there was, and maybe they've changed it, there was controversy like this, like in the NFL, which I know there's 9 total officials who do a bunch of different things, also very poorly. And then like, but there's years in like where, especially, which has happened a lot because it's football, and like an official went down, and then they'd like shift their formation to like, oh, if it's only 8 officials, you line up this way. When it's 9, you line up this way. And it's just like, you are printing money. Why don't you have like 15 more just ready to go? And I understand that's not the same situation here, but in a league that is at this point and is pretty much demanding to be taken seriously, that whoever is in charge of the institution of officiating, which is the most boring part of any sport, prepare, because this can happen a lot. Like, they're running their asses off out there. way to get in the right position at times. And I am dangerously close to becoming a referee apologist right now. I promise you I am not that. But yeah, it's just like they don't have a contingency plan in place for when this happens. Like like each crew is 4 people, and it's kind of like soccer has a 4th official who's just like in between the benches and kind of doing administrative stuff and like stoppage time. You could have a 4th official at the scorer's table, making sure all of those operations are to code and to a standard, and the break glass in case of emergency official if someone gets hurt.
It just was one of those things where it's just like the WNBA's popularity has it's grown past its infrastructure, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like the league is too popular now to have 2 refs officiating a game. Like
there's never more than like what would be the most amount of WNBA games in a night? Like the maximum would be 6, and we never get that. So it's like, you need to hire like maximum 5 more employees to make this work. And it's not like a full-time year-round salary. You have to hire 5 more employees for 7 months. But also like they keep trying to find more people to do it, and I guess that's hard and whatever. There's a million reasons why it's not in place. Probably very few of them are acceptable. But I like, and no one in the Lynx locker room is pinning a loss like this on that. I don't think it helped anything. I don't think it helped the Storm get more aggressive and get more breaks or whatever, but it also like wasn't helping the Lynx find a way back into this game either, if that makes sense. I agree with you. I don't think it helped either team. I think I think it just got to the level of intensity where it's like, okay, this is probably borderlining on like unsafe. Like we got to rile these people in so there isn't a fight. And also like, you just can't officiate a good product with 2 people. Like that's just there's 10 players. You can do a good podcast with 2 people like we're doing right now. Literally. But you can't do a great job of officiating a professional sports event with 2 people. That's why we're not refs, and we're in these chairs and not in those weird shirts with whistles around our necks. Also, like exceptionally tight shirts. I know that's the other I don't have the build. Neither of us have the build for that. No, certainly not me. Also, like, why does the NFL get like kind of baggy shirts? And anyways, we're getting off topic. So Terry, we're going to Marie's question. And if anyone else has any questions to pop in the chat here at 10:56 p.m., feel free. We appreciate you. But Marie asks, do you think this game hurts MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year chances? I am just going to say the narrative tomorrow on Fee is going to be frustrating. That is my opinion on the matter. How about you, Terry? I mean, yeah, if you're talking about the narrative on Twitter, because everything on Twitter is frustrating. That's why I'm barely on it. Yeah, there'll be some discourse. And I think you can happily counter that with Fee's 32 points in 31 minutes in the game she just, came back for. And, the product that even the Lynx have something like this and are still far and away in the driver's seat for home court. They're going to lock up home court in the month of August. That is something I would say no, and no because I don't think any one game can really do that. But these races have gotten tight or tighter. I think it's going to be pure voting fatigue for Cheryl. It's kind of like you can only give Coach of the Year to a coach of a team who you don't think was going to be good. So you have to, punish teams that meet high expectations and like also exceed them, which is just, and I'm talking about like the media as a monolith here. So like everyone, it was one, it was poor Michael Vopel at ESPN who had the Lynx ranked 9th in his power rankings last year, which was wildly wrong. And he himself said, I missed by a mile on the Lynx, but that became everyone being like, everyone had the Lynx ranked 9th last year. Like, aren't you pissed at everyone? There are others too who doubted the Lynx, of course. And because people doubted the Lynx, it's like Cheryl's the obvious coach of the year, right? And now this year, it's people talked about the defending champs, the Liberty, and the Lynx, and probably the Aces as the 3 teams that really had a chance heading into this season. So, of course, our coach of the year candidates are Natalie Nakase of the Golden State Valkyries, who all us experts thought were going to be bad. Carl Smesko of the Atlanta Dream, who all of us experts wrote off. And those 2 are very, very deserving. But like, for the coach of the team, who essentially didn't make any splashy additions over the offseason and is going to wrap up home court in August and is number 1 in net rating, offensive rating, defensive rating, Nielsen ratings, probably not Nielsen ratings, but whatever. I was just going to say another thing that had the word rating in it, but all of the ratings, quarterback rating, whatever, like, it's been
yards per carry
far and away. Cheryl Reeves is averaging so many more yards per carry than any other coach in this league. And it's just like, oh, well, we decided that we felt that you might be good this year, so it's not that impressive. And it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And I'm not saying she should get it like with a bullet. And like I said, Carl and Natalie, for sure, the 2 of them are great too. But now Becky Hammond's working her way in there, and she's a hell of a coach. But why are we rewarding her for a team being dog shit for 2 months and moving the goalpost because they were so spectacularly failing to live up to expectations? And now we reset the expectations when they were bad. So they're on this 12-game winning streak, and it's like the greatest achievement in the history of sport. So I'll stop yelling and get back to you. I don't think it does or should hurt those award chances. I don't know how likely it is for Cheryl to get COTY. Just based on that, I still have Fee and Lan as my front runners for the other 2.
I don't think it'll hurt Fee's MVP chances. I think it'll just be a 24-hour narrative on Twitter and ESPN that's annoying. Lan, I mean, from the people I've talked to, it sounds like Lan's kind of a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year at this point. Cheryl, I asked around at practice quite a bit this week of just like, why is she deserving of it? Because like it is ludicrous that a 30-8 team that is the best statistical team on paper, just is getting no thought for Coach of the Year. I have mentioned maybe what we do is we name the award the Cheryl Reeve Coach of the Year award, and then just present whatever coach wins the award with the Cheryl Reeve Coach of the Year award. So if Becky Hammond ends up winning it, it would be congratulations. Here's your Cheryl Reeve Coach of the Year award. That's probably more unlikely than her winning it, but there's always a chance. KJ hoping that everybody gets all of the Lynx, or gets all blah blah blah, hoping that the Lynx get all of this out of their system before the playoffs. I agree. I don't think a loss is ever like a good loss, but I do think this will be like a solid wake-up call. He also gave a very nice shout out to us, everyone watching this, bringing Lynx fans here. That's what this is all about, is just providing content to Lynx fans, because you guys deserve it. Last question I'm going to touch on here is just, Elsie, did you see anything from the deep bench play? Ola Kosu chunked the layup, and my soul hurt a little bit because I'm rooting for that kid so much that she makes.
We love
it.
Ola.
I responded.
I made sure to respond to at least that I am the world's biggest Cameron Taylor fan. And I don't know that there is really anything in the 68 seconds of game action tonight, but I do have high hopes that there is a solid WNBA career for her in her future, and first career rebound tonight.
Hey, that's neat.
Yeah, but I don't think there is anything really there. I like Jalen Sherrod a lot too, and for all of these women, it's what has been the problem for years is there aren't enough teams and aren't enough roster spots. So hopefully with at least 24 more coming next year, some of these players and players in similar roles are able to get in spots with a little bit more playing time. There won't be a ton of those spots, but there will be more than there are right now. And that's positive growth.
I was just so heartbroken because Ola, again, I'm really pulling for that kid.
Right.
Streaks the floor like great, gets into the corner position, does a nice back cut, gets fed for the layup, and then just chunked it. And I was like, oh man, you did everything right. But yeah,
it is hard to, and this is, coming from a former bench scrub myself, like those minutes are hard because you sit there for 2.5 hours and then it's like, all right, the game doesn't matter anymore. It's weird out there. Go do something. And it's
Joe Ingles talked about it for the Wolves when he first signed here and was getting those like 4 minutes per game off the bench stretches at the beginning of the year. And he was just kind of, in essence, he was like, yeah, it sucks. You go in, you shoot one shot. If you make it, you're really good. If you miss it, you're really bad. A lot of young players can't do that. Yeah. And like, I feel like it's the same at the end of the game. Like if Ola misses 3 more shots in a row, everyone's going to be looking at her shooting percentage of like, oh man, what a bust. And it's like, no, she actually just missed 4 shots over the course of an entire season. And that's the reality. Terry, anything you got to plug, anything you want to touch on before we get out of here?
You can find all of my written work at thenexthoops.com. There will be a new episode of Lynx Happy Hour sometime tomorrow. It'll basically be everything we just said. Sometimes with timing, we overlap a little bit, but it'll be just me going on some reacting to some sound bites and some other stuff. Also, there should be something, a new written piece from me posted sometime tomorrow that I need to file still tonight. So gonna keep burning the midnight oil, but yeah, you can follow me at Terry Horstman on Twitter. I pop in occasionally. It's at Terrence Horstman on Instagram, but yeah, hit me up, say hi, let me know you're a Lynx fan and I'll follow you back. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me, and looking forward to creating more dope content for you guys for the rest of the regular season. And before you know it, we'll be in the playoffs.
Playoffs are right around the corner. If anybody came into this at the end, this will be published as a podcast tomorrow. It'll be released at 7 a.m. If you really need a drive time listen to the 300 plus people that have swung through here, you're the reason we're doing this. Everyone at Hitting the Hardwood, we just really believe that like Lynx fans deserve good coverage. And when you get 3 guys that are credentialed, that occasionally makes sense, and you put them all in the same room, hopefully we're giving some good
Lynx fans deserve great coverage, and we can provide coverage. It's up to you to determine if it's great or not, but we never stop striving.
We will provide coverage
one day.
Thank you everybody who popped in, and I mean, until Saturday, go Lynx.
Thanks everybody.